Yo, 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 what up? It's your boy Kizzle. Welcome to the channel. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. Today, I'm back at y'all with another one. I was scrolling, saw a video about VLAD. Um, Supposedly, VLAD is supposed to be speaking on some rumors about ALLSTAR JR, which is the rapper from Detroit. He's going viral right now because him and the Ben 10 situation. Um, but yeah, basically, they were saying that ALLSTAR JR was picked up by the feds on his way to a VLAD interview. So I'm not even gonna waste no more of y'all time. Let's get right into it.
All right. Welcome to the greatest show on earth, VLAD TV.
Yeah.
This time, we're going to start off a little different. We're going to put you in front of the camera because breaking news, ALLSTAR JR, he's in major headlines. He's been in the headlines for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. There's been rumors that he was picked up by the feds yesterday, if I'm correct. And the blogs are reporting that he was on his way to California to do an interview with you.
Well, he was on his way to do an interview with VLAD TV, but not in California, in Detroit. So we had, the last couple of days, we had talked to ALLSTAR J. I think you were involved in the process.
I was.
In terms of booking him to do an interview to talk about the whole situation. So we set a date, we set a time. It was going to be in Detroit. I wasn't going to be there. It was going to be remote.
True.
Right? So in that case, I try to do interviews in person, but I don't always get to do it. So in that case, it was going to be a remote interview. So earlier that day, we had a conversation about some of the topics that we're going to cover in the interview. And the conversation wasn't taped. So if the feds want any level of cooperation from me, I'm already not cooperating. I'm going to be pleading the fifth. I always protect my guests. I have a long history of this. If you look at, for example, the Keefe D situation, Las Vegas PD tried to get all my raw footage. I refused. There's a Jimmy Henchman situation where they wanted my footage. I also refused. I would lawyer up and I would fight situations like this. So I'm not cooperating on any level, and I'm not going to talk about what we talked about.
Okay, so Vlad is basically saying that the interview wasn't for ALLSTAR JR in California, it was in Detroit. And basically he's saying there's been plenty of videos that he had where I guess the feds stepped in and tried to, get the videos, get the information, try to use it as evidence against those specific people. And all Vlad would do is just lawyer up, and he said he will fight to not have to give up those videos. And do I believe him? He could be doing that, but we don't know.
Our phone conversation. But the whole thing was we were setting up an interview for later that day. It was supposed to be at 7 o'clock Detroit time.
Yes.
So the studio was booked. My man Mafi set it up. You were involved in the process as well. Everyone was excited to do it. 7 o'clock rolls around. I'm hitting up Mafi. Yo, what's going on? Where's he at? Oh, and he's going to be there at 7:15. And he actually forwarded me a text message, which we'll show on the screen, from ALLSTAR J saying he's running a little bit late. It's going to be 7:15. All right, cool. 7:15 comes around. Nothing. 7:30, 7:45. Now we're not even getting an answer from him. 8 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, well, I guess we're going to cancel. We gave a 1 hour grace period. I don't know whether he got cold feet or something happened, but at the end of the day, he didn't show up, so we canceled. And then I think maybe about an hour after that, I get a text from Mafi from ALLSTAR JR that said that the feds picked him up, which is horrible. It's a horrible situation. But I could tell you that I had absolutely nothing to do with that situation. If the feds wanted to pick him up, they probably would have waited once he got to the interview location.
Right.
And if they wanted more info out of him, they could have just waited for the interview to be done.
Well, the fact of the matter is they didn't know what the interview location was. That was all proprietary information that existed between yourself and him, Mafi, and I.
Yeah. I had no idea any of this was happening. It's a messed up situation. But I am not working with the feds. I did not cooperate with the feds. I had no involvement in this. We had already booked the studio. I was looking forward to doing the interview. And then this situation happened. And a lot of these like blogs are saying, you know, All-Star JR arrested on his way to a Vlad TV interview, and kind of implying that somehow I had something to do with it. And I could tell you that I had absolutely nothing to do with it.
And I don't know, I feel like this been going on for a while though, you know. Just watching other channels, they like, I mean, they've been saying that Vlad might be the feds, but like I said, do I believe it? I don't know. They say people have been arrested after doing an interview on his channel or whatever. So I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean,
and some of the blogs are even saying that he was on his way to California,
as if he was arrested. No, he was not.
As if he was arrested on his way to the airport to come to see you.
No. He was already in Detroit, and he was on his way to a Detroit studio that we had already booked.
Right.
And even the studio was hitting us like, yo, what's going on? And we're like, we don't know. We have no idea.
So let me ask you a question, Vlad. Why do you think that people are constantly and consistently trying to label you as a cooperative in some way solely because you're interviewing people? In my mind, it's not your fault. Your job as a content creator and as a journalist, right? And I'll use the word journalist because that is essentially what you are and what you have been for over 2 decades. Why do you think people blame you for, or because the people you interview may say something that may be incriminating about something that they were involved with or something that somebody else was involved with? Why do they constantly blame you versus putting the onus of responsibility on the people who you're interviewing?
Well, I think that I was the first person in this space to start asking the hard questions that hip-hop media historically has always been scared to ask. So if you look at my interviews from 2008, I think I did an interview with Plies, and he was like, yo, man, are you the police? Like, you know, this was back in 2008.
Yeah, see, like Vlad is saying, asking the hard questions, but like Ply said, like, man, like, are you the police? Like, you asking police type questions. That's what's going on. You ask police type questions. It ain't that you're just asking hard questions. You're asking questions that can get somebody locked up. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I tell you, this is police shit. Hey, Russell, don't you send nobody over here, man. Do some police interrogation shit. I'm telling you.
Because the way I looked at it was, if you're gonna sit down with somebody, why ignore the elephant in the room?
Right.
If this person's whole persona is built on this gangster image, why not talk about that? If all their songs are about this, if all the stuff they're doing on social media is about this and everything else like that, why not ask about it? Now, I'm very careful about the way that I do ask about it. So people like to say I'm the feds and all my interviews end up getting men arrested and so forth. The only time I've ever heard of my interview being used in someone's case was the Keefe D situation, right? That trial hasn't even started yet. So that's not even confirmed.
Right.
But in that case, Keefe D wrote a book about his involvement in the Tupac murder, and I did an interview based on his book.
Based on the book. They missed the book part though.
They missed the book part.
They missed that in the book.
The book was already on Amazon. There's links to the Amazon book in that first clip. So apart from that, people like to say that I'm involved in this person's arrest, that person's arrest. You could ask the actual people who I'm being.
So Vlad is basically saying that Keefe D told on himself because he already wrote it in a book. He already put it in a book, and you know what I mean, put it on Amazon. So I mean, this is before he interviewed Keefe D. So he already had the book of like basically confessing or what role he played in the Tupac murder. So
accused of, and they'll say that Vlad had nothing to do with it. Taxstone, Vlad had nothing to do with it. Casanova 2 times, Vlad had nothing to do with it. You could go on and on and on and on. All these people, if they decide to do crimes after my interview is completed, or if they had done them before the interview was done, which we did not discuss on any level, because I'll talk about someone going to prison and doing their time, because you've earned the right to talk about that crime based on the amount of life you've given up in that jail cell.
Right.
That's it. There's no double jeopardy in America.
Right. You can't be.
They can't say, well, you talked about it again, so we're going to give you another 10 years. No, you did your 10 years. Now you can talk about it. If it's past the statute of limitations, you could talk about it. If you talk about being a gang member when you were 18 and you're 40 now,
Right.
like I remember with Casanova 2 times, they're like, oh, look, Vlad talked about him being a blood, and now he gets arrested. Well, yeah, he was a blood back then, but what he got arrested for had nothing to do with him being a blood
Right.
back then, before he went to prison for some other shit. It had to do with new crimes he did years after our interview was completed. We only did 1 interview, but people like to put pieces together and so forth, and the reality is I was the first person to do this in this space.
Right.
Now it's very common. You have the Traplo Rosses of the world, and you have the No Jumpers, and you have, you know, podcasts that just focus on crimes.
Right.
So now it's common, but I was really the originator, so I think I take the most heat.
Yeah, you take the most heat, and I think it is a situation where people are trying to throw rocks at the throne. They know that in order to get to where they want to be, they have to go through VLAD TV, and that's probably, most likely, never going to happen.
Well, you know, I mean, there's always going to be someone that's going to overtake you in one way or another,
Yeah.
and there's lots of great podcasts out there.
I like that you're being, like relatively polite.
Well, it's not that I'm being polite. Like, I embrace these new generations.
Right.
Like, I've never been the hater in this space that tries to belittle everyone else and tries to stunt on the next generation. Like, ask Charlemagne. I was the first person to put him on a mixtape when he was still local in, you know, South Carolina, before Wendy Williams found him, before he had the Breakfast Club. Like, I was seeing the talent in Charlemagne and featuring it on bigger platforms. Traplo Ross, Academics, Adam 22, Sean Cotton. All these guys I've featured on my show. All these guys I have relationships with. All these guys we talk to each other and compare information and build and help each other out. None of us compete against.
All right, man. So yeah, that basically summed it up. I mean, what can I say? It's your boy Kiz. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out.